Alright guys, we are here in front of the European Parliament in Brussels and there's a protest going on right now for Turkey. Excuse me, could I ask some questions about the protest?
Of course.
Because I saw you standing up there, so are you one of the...
President of CHP Youth Belgium.
Ah, okay. And are you from Turkish descent?
Yes, fully.
Okay, and what is it exactly that the protest is about today?
So today's protest was about Ekrem İmamoğlu and Turkish democracy and justice and fundamental rights. So in Turkey, since 19th of March, Ekrem İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul, has been arrested in an unjust and political maneuver conducted by President Erdogan and his cronies in an attempt to silence Turkish democracy and also to jail the main opposition party, our party, CHP's official presidential candidate for the upcoming Turkish presidential elections, and it's also a hammer against Turkish general elections as well and to the general democratic freedoms of the country.
Because he was leading in the polls, right?
Yes, he was leading in the polls. Not only that, he was also the mayor of Istanbul, which is one of the most powerful positions on a local level in the country. So it was imperative for the current government to take him out, eliminate him from the political race. But we as Turkish citizens are united and resolute in our defense of our democracy, our fundamental rights, our justice system, our constitution, and we're not going to give those up no matter what.
And what are the crimes that they claim that he committed?
Well, they claim that he has been engaged in corruption and has led an organized crime trafficking network. But simply to put it, there is no clear evidence. There are only 3 witnesses without any clear confirmation as to who they are. And all of the witness files currently released by the Turkish police and judicial authorities have basically blamed all of the accusations on an alleged level. So there is no concrete proof, there is no concrete statement. It's just alleged statements coming from no clear witnesses that are known to the public. So it's a brazen political attempt, similar to the way Russian opposition was jailed by Putin, similar to the way Latin American dictators conducted their operations against Democrats in the opposition ranks, just like Maduro has conducted similar operations against the opposition in Venezuela. We're seeing it play it out again now in Turkey. So it's imperative that Europeans and all Democrats abroad support the Turkish democracy, support the Turkish democratic protests, and also to send help as much as possible to those who are fighting for democracy, not just in Turkey, but also abroad as well.
And what were the policies that he was going to imply or that he was running on that Erdogan was so scared of?
Well, President Erdogan is scared of any possibility of losing power. He's addicted to power. He is a full-time authoritarian. He is a strong man that envies leaders like Putin, like Kim Jong-un, like the supreme leader of Iran. He wants a strongman presidency with complete power all given to himself. He wants to be the only voice in Turkey that speaks for Turkish people, and he does not tolerate any form of dissent in Turkey. And now we're protesting as much as possible to stop Turkey becoming a new Russia. We don't want to become a Muslim Russia. We don't want to become a new version of Iran. So we're going to protest as much as possible and to help our democracy stay alive and stay resolute.
And what would you like from the European Union? What actions would you like them to take to possibly help Turkey?
Well, we want the European Union to make clear statements of support towards the Turkish democratic protests, especially from the Commission. The European Commission has not fulfilled its task on defending European values abroad. And also, it's important to point out that Turkey is a candidate country for the European Union, and it's the job of the European Commission to assess Turkey's standards via the acquis communautaire, via the accession process. And currently, Turkey's democratic crisis is also a crisis of the European Union and European Commission and the European External Action Service, and we have to see more clear messages coming from there towards lending support in the Turkish democratic movements.
Okay, thank you for your words. You are very well spoken. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we are here today with...
Derya Bulduk.
And what is your role within the organization?
I'm the CHP representative in Belgium.
Okay, and today there was a protest here in front of the European Parliament in Brussels. Why is this protest happening?
This protest is against the situation in Turkey because the mayor of Istanbul and a lot of students, a lot of journalists, a lot of spokesman and a lot of mayor political issue personality are cannot doing their job, so they are in the jail, and this situation is since the 19th of March. So that's the problem that we have currently now in Turkey. It's very bad. So we wouldn't like to have a Turkey against democracy and a Turkey where the fascism will be in the first line. So that's why here in Brussels we do our best each week to come here nearby the European Parliament to say no in this situation in Turkey.
So the mayor of Istanbul was the main front runner against Erdogan for this upcoming election, and then he got arrested, right?
Yeah, that's
And
it.
based on what accusations?
Based on accusation that will be only delivered by the currently president. So we don't know. We don't know from which base he's currently in the jail. We are waiting. We are waiting to know what's the problem, because the problem is we need to know that it's a political decision, so it's not a decision by a prosecutor, etc. So now it's a decision named by the President Erdogan.
Okay, and do you feel like right now under Erdogan it is moving towards fascism, you said, in Turkey?
Of course. If the people cannot go outside to demonstrate the situation, to say no, that they don't accept this kind of political situation in Turkey, and they cannot, if they have the police who doesn't accept, if they are not, then I would like to find my words, but
In French you can say it.
if they wouldn't like to the people that the people come outside for demonstration, that's a political issue. It's not a democratic situation. That's a situation who's done by the state of police.
Okay, so do you feel like even right now answering questions in front of the camera that might be against Erdogan could put you potentially in danger?
So can you repeat, please?
Like for example speaking out against Erdogan today in these protests, would this put you technically in danger potentially?
Yeah, of course, because wherever we are, the Turkish people cannot say anything against the currently government in Turkey and against Erdogan. So that's not acceptable. If I'm not in Turkey, if I'm in Turkey, in a democratic country, we can say whatever we are thinking. That's true. But here in this in Belgium, precisely, there is a lot of people who wouldn't like to say anything. We wouldn't like to write anything in the social media, because they are not comfortable in the kind of, if they go in Turkey, for example, and we say no, you should say what you are thinking, but currently it's not possible.
So for these up-and-coming elections, there's basically no opponent to Erdogan.
No, not yet. Yes, we have three potentially president candidates in the jail.
Oh, there are three guys are in jail.
The three guys, so Ekrem İmamoğlu, Selahattin Demirtaş, and Ümit Özdağ. So the three opponents and candidates, probably the candidates for the presidency, are in the jail.
So they will have an election with only one.
Yeah. What they are willing, it's they wouldn't like to have any opposition in Turkey.
Okay.
That's the problem.
So how would an election work then?
Yeah, that we can say so that. So we don't need to have elections if the democracy doesn't work correctly.
Yeah.
So currently we don't have any candidates.
That's crazy.
Yes, that's really crazy.
So what actions would you like the European Union to undertake to potentially help with this issue?
For us, I think in the first case, in the first step, 1 month ago, the European countries doesn't understand the situation that we have in Turkey. But after a lot of weeks, they understand the situation was not acceptable. So what we are waiting from the European country, it's saying directly that it's not acceptable and that they do a lot of obligations. I'm sorry to say that, but we need to do that if we would like the peace in this region. So we need some decision, a strong decision who's coming from the European states and European Parliament.
Okay, and hopefully then Turkey can become part of the European Union as well?
The Turkey from today, no. No, it's
Under
not.
Erdogan would not be
No,
possible.
it's not possible, and I'm sure that Erdogan wouldn't like to be a part of the European Union also. So, but
Would he prefer to look more towards the Middle East for allies in that way?
I think that Erdogan would like to have a good relation with Russia and the United States. So the European countries are not the best scenario for Erdogan. So and he would like to play with the two bigs, but I'm sure that he's not comfortable also with these two big countries, because without democracy we cannot have a safe position.
Yeah, I
That's
understand. And are you right now hopeful for the future of your country?
Yes, because we would like to have the elections. That's why we are here in nearby the European Parliament and in other countries also, because we have a lot of colleagues who's doing the same assembly in each countries. So we are sure that if we have the mobilization of the people, we can do a lot of change in our country.
Okay, well I think it's very important what you do and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right guys, we are here with...
Nurai,
Okay, and why are we here?
because we are against the politic of Erdogan,
Okay.
because they step by step. Je peux parler en anglais? En politique, c'est un peu difficile.
Okay.
Petit à petit, il veut instaurer un système autoritaire, et nous, plutôt, on est plus pour la démocratie, c'est-à-dire avec la garantie que la démocratie offre, c'est-à-dire une pluralité de partis politiques, que ce soit la gauche, que ce soit le centre, que ce soit d'autres partis. Et malheureusement, cette dérive, notamment en mettant Imamoğlu en prison,
The political opposition.
oui,
went
voilà,
to-
l'opposant politique le plus à même de contrer Erdogan aux prochaines élections. Le fait qu'il l'ait mis en prison nous fait craindre une dérive de plus en plus autoritaire, et c'est pour ça qu'on est ici. C'est parce que le parti républicain représente justement cette pluralité. S'il n'y a plus cette pluralité, on va petit à petit glisser vers un système que j'estime, moi, en vivant en Belgique, dangereux, puisqu'il ne représente pas les intérêts de la population. Voilà.
Okay. So what we learned, because from the outside, Turkey is shown as a democracy, but what I heard is that Erdogan arrests his political opponents. Is that what is going on right now as well?
Oui, c'est ça. En fait, en arrêtant, comme je disais tout à l'heure, en arrêtant son opposant politique, ça fait craindre une dérive autoritaire qu'on trouve dommageable pour la Turquie parce que c'est une société extrêmement plurielle, avec une multitude de langues, avec une multitude de religions, avec une multitude de points de vue politiques. Et je trouve que c'est ça qui fait la beauté de la Turquie. Okay. C'est cette pluralité. Et ce serait dommage, parce qu'en plus la société civile turque est très active. Elle est en demande de plein de choses, je veux dire, au niveau de la démocratie, mais aussi au niveau de la qualité de vie, au niveau d'une qualité, parce qu'en Turquie, il y a quand même une grande partie de la jeunesse qui a fait des études, qui a profité du système scolaire, etc. Et donc qui est vraiment en demande de conditions meilleures, surtout depuis la crise de ces dernières années. Et tout le monde, y compris les jeunes, souffre de cette crise. Et donc İmamoğlu représente l'espoir.
And do you feel like the suffering is not equal? For example, maybe for women there are lesser rights in Turkey under Erdogan?
Dans la mesure où c'est un parti qui se veut islamiste, l'islam repose justement sur le fait, comme pas que l'islam, mais à peu près mondialement, la femme est déjà moins bien considérée, a moins de droits que les hommes, et dans un système où il y a la religion qui gouverne le quotidien ou qui gère le quotidien, évidemment que la femme a encore moins de place. Parce que, d'ailleurs, Erdogan, il n'y a pas très long, il y a 2-3 ans ou un peu plus, il disait qu'une femme digne d'être une femme turque, elle doit rester à la maison, s'occuper de ses enfants et être quelqu'un qui se sacrifie pour le bien de sa famille. Donc on relègue la femme à son rôle strictement de génitrice et plus à son rôle de citoyenne.
So not maybe freedom to go study, go work, things like this.
Oui, mais pour le moment, comme je disais, la société turque, elle est très empreinte de tout ce que Atatürk a mis en place, c'est-à-dire la modernisation de la Turquie avec des femmes qui font partie de la société. Tandis que nous, on a peur, en tout cas tous ceux qui sont de la gauche, on a peur qu'avec l'installation d'une république islamiste ou d'une république musulmane tendance islamiste, comme la femme est de plus en plus reléguée à son rôle de garante de la famille, garante de la structure familiale. Et moi, c'est ça qui m'inquiète.
And were you born in Turkey?
Oui, je suis née en Turquie.
And you moved to Belgium?
Oui, on est venu en Belgique parce que mes parents ont travaillé en Belgique comme ouvriers. Et puis nous, on a bénéficié aussi des avantages de la Belgique dans le sens où il y avait les droits à l'éducation, il y a encore, je ne sais pas pour combien de temps, mais droits à la santé, etc. Donc on a bénéficié de tous ces avantages qu'offre une démocratie avec tout le droit que chacun a de pouvoir aller à l'école, de pouvoir aller se soigner, de pouvoir s'exprimer comme je le fais maintenant. Donc, et c'est ça que je voudrais pour mon pays.
Okay, and do you feel like before Erdogan was in power, there was more freedom or they were more westernized in a way?
Non, je sais pas, parce que le système, le parti républicain a quand même été depuis 100 ans au gouvernement et il y a eu quand même plusieurs vagues de répression sous le parti républicain, le CHP. Et donc, je ne suis pas sûre qu'ils garantissent 100% les démocraties, mais en tout cas, la femme avait plus de droits, pas dans toutes les parties de la Turquie, parce que c'est surtout les grandes villes qui ont bénéficié d'un système plutôt libéral, où la femme avait le droit d'aller étudier, etc. Donc historiquement, c'est surtout les grandes villes qui ont bénéficié de la politique installée par Atatürk.
Ok.
Ça c'est partout en Turquie.
Ouais.
Donc c'est pour ça d'ailleurs que Erdogan a gagné il y a plus de 20 ans. C'est parce qu'il y a toute une partie de la population qui s'est sentie délaissée, notamment dans les campagnes et dans les villes un peu plus éloignées des centres, des métropoles comme Izmir, comme Istanbul, etc.
And what do you feel like needs to happen, or what is it that you want to get done with this protest in order to move forward for Turkey?
Moi, je pense qu'avec ce mouvement, d'abord, on a envie que la Turquie continue à être plurielle, c'est-à-dire à offrir une possibilité de choix politique. Et donc, moi, c'est pour ça que je suis ici. Je pense que le Parti républicain offre et a évolué aussi. Il offre la possibilité, notamment aux religieux qui ont été quand même mis de côté, notamment dans les universités où les femmes religieuses ne pouvaient pas porter le voile. Je pense que İmamoğlu, il est en même temps lui-même religieux, enfin religieux dans le sens où il est pratiquant, et en même temps il est républicain. Et donc cette alliance des deux peut concilier la Turquie religieuse et la Turquie laïque. Et je pense que lui représente une alternative pour ne pas sombrer dans le chaos, parce que je pense qu'il y a trop de mécontentement en Turquie et lui fait consensus.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Merci. Can we ask some questions? What is this protest for?
It's for Turkey, democracy in Turkey and justice.
Okay,
So since İmamoğlu has been detained illegally,
sorry?
since Ekrem İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul, has been detained,
Okay.
there is a huge protestation like in Turkey actually.
Okay, so is it... Wait, can we go a little here for the music?
It's more than about the regime of Erdogan. It's like a movement for democracy, for justice in Turkey, which bring obviously the opposition, but also like a lot of young people, LGBTQI people, women on the streets to reclaim the democracy in Turkey.
So do you feel right now that democracy is not thriving in Turkey?
Like the democracy in Turkey is like very questionable. I cannot say that there is a dictatorship because I can go to jail because of that saying. So I'm not gonna say it, but like it's very questionable about the democracy right now.
Okay. And I noticed that you have the Turkey flag with the LGBTQ flag. Are you part of the LGBTQ movement?
Yes. Yes.
And do you feel like nowadays in Turkey this is an issue?
Yes, actually there is like how to say it, like law project that is being discussed right now in Turkey, which try to criminalize LGBTQI person according to the gender, that if you don't act or behave or dress as the gender that you were born with, you can go to the jail and get yes.
And is it mostly...
This is in discussion right now in the parliament, like in the same time that the protestation, because like people there cannot like choose between what's reaction, like it's like really discussing underground like.
Okay, and do you feel like are you at danger if you are part of the LGBTQ in Turkey openly?
I think that like it's not like about being LGBTQI plus in Turkey. It's being like in opposition of the Erdogan. Everybody that is in opposition that doesn't agree with his ideology is in danger actually. Like it's much more important that being of a minority. Yeah.
So
everybody in Turkey are in danger. Like
so the freedom is like in jeopardy right now in Turkey.
Exactly.
Okay, and do they differentiate between LGB and maybe the T and the Q, or do they across the board?
In Turkey actually, like there is the movement is really like in solidarity like with other minorities too, and also like there is not a scission between the women rights protestation and LGBTQ protestation. They always been together. Like it's not like from Europe we see different manifestation. It's always together and organized together.
Okay, so. And because the image that I'm from the Netherlands, the image that we have is that Turkey is pretty modern. But do you still feel like there's issue for women's rights, for example?
Yes, like actually, I think like 5 years ago or something, like Turkish retreat itself from the convention, Istanbul Convention, so which is like a convention, international convention, like signed to fight inequality and also to fight violence against women. So yes, there is a clear opposition to women rights in Turkey actually.
Okay, and in your opinion, what would be the right way to move forward from here? Do you feel like there should be a different president than Erdogan?
I think Erdogan must go. Like we have this person like in the government since like 23 years, so it's time for him to just go from the government and also to his ideology to die also.
Okay.
Like we don't just want that he left politics, but we also want that his ideology dies.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.